I fully expect we're going to be able to maybe get one of those against a little bit lesser, not much less, but a little bit lesser of an opponent. They're going to at least try and throw the ball some in the first quarter as they're already down 14-0 like that. It's going to happen in the first 3 minutes.
One thing that you did say, a little bit of a lesser competition. I mean, it's a better competition than we played last week, but hey, whatever.
45, 40, 35, 40, he's gonna go! It's time, people, feel us!
Big Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better! He gets better and better! He gets If we die, we die!
Man is putting a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln!
You don't need a button this time.
No button this time.
Work release got me out.
Got him out, and he's got it overnight. That's why he's able to get the 12-pack.
Nice.
Yep. Getting it going. Guys, we are 2-0 going up against another undefeated team.
Mm-hmm.
We've made it through the cream puffs of the schedule.
It's a real battle of the unbeatens this week.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just glad to have the easy games out of the way.
Yeah.
Then we can move forward.
We don't have to worry about them. We don't have to talk about them ever again.
Who?
I don't know. I don't remember who we played last week.
You mean UTEP?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. UTEP was good.
The University of TEP, yeah.
University of TEP.
The ones that lost to Southern Utah?
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I didn't even check on that one this week.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a southern part of Utah.
That's rough.
Yeah, it was bad.
No, I mean, I'm excited to be moving forward. I was really, really, really happy with the way that the last game went, just from the standpoint of, first of all, if you were going to tell me that we had 3 first downs in the second half, we missed a field goal inside of 35 yards,
0 third down conversions.
We had no points in the second half, 0 third down conversions in the second half, 9 penalties in the second half, and we still won by 18 points, I would have told you you're a fucking liar.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd have told you I'd still be a happy camper.
It wouldn't have mattered who we were playing.
No.
So
I'm just glad that we were playing a piece of shit team to be able to continue to win.
Exactly. But to throw on top of that, the big bonus, I think, was the fact that the entire team and the entire coaching staff was fired up like we lost.
Mm-hmm.
There was no letdown. There was a lot of people that were not worried about this game, but worried we wouldn't look as sharp in this game. We talked about it in the preseason preview. Wouldn't look as sharp in this game because of the big hype of last week. Coming down off of that, I don't think that you're going to see the letdown we would have if we had stomped on their throats.
The big positive of not looking very good in the second half is that Rhule and this coaching staff can shove it in our players' throats.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you better sack the fuck up for this game because we're actually playing somebody this week.
No time off.
Shove it in their throats. You choke on it.
And you know what? We are actually playing somebody this week because it's a completely different style of ball than what we were playing the last couple of weeks. We were talking before we started. This is a good preview to the Big Ten. They are a running the ball between the tackles type team. They got some big fatties in the middle, and they like to push.
Yep,
it's going to be a good first start.
Do we know anything about their offensive line size-wise? Did you look up an average weight or anything like that?
When we were looking at the roster, you click on the players' names, and it doesn't have a height and weight on there.
Yeah.
I was able to find their 2024 depth chart here.
Oh, I did not.
6'6", 6'4", 6'4". Somewhere around 6'4", 6'5".
What's their weights, though?
I was going to say maybe 270, 260.
No, I'm 330, 304.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
Center's only 280. But then they get back up. Their right guard and right tackle are both around 320. So I mean, they're a big group of guys.
Matt Rhule sucked all the oxygen out of the air with a comment that he made on Monday in his press conference when he referenced their offensive line and the way that they play ball. And he made the comment, "Hey, when I was in the NFL, I wasn't looking at Nebraska offensive linemen. I was looking at Northern Iowa." And you'd have heard a fucking flea fart in that thing. If there was in there, because all the air sucked out of the room. He walked it back a little bit when he made a comment that Cam Jurgens, he was really good, but I just wasn't in a position to draft him. But he obviously respects the style of ball that they play. He has a great amount of respect for the coaching staff that's been there. You mentioned the head coach has been there like 24 years. Yeah.
And he's like a legendary linebacker from the 80s, 80s, 90s, whichever one it was, from Northern Iowa.
So he's a hard-nosed guy.
In his first 11 years, he had 7 conference titles. So I'm like, he was successful super early. They've semi-struggled lately. I think that it has helped or hurt, I guess, for them by the rise of North Dakota State, you know, and South Dakota State and everything else.
Are they in the same
They're
conference?
in the same conference, yeah. So, like,
that's tough.
That's going to be tough. You know, and it's not just North Dakota State and South Dakota State. South Dakota's pretty good. North Dakota's always decent. You got Youngstown State is good and bad at times, depending on if they have a piece of shit defensive coach for 3 or 4 years to go back home.
Jesus. That wasn't specific at all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who would that be?
I forget.
It's one of your favorite coaches of all time.
I forget.
It somehow coincided with the gum shortage they had in the state that year.
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
But I mean, it's a tough conference that they play in. So, you know, that doesn't help them at all either. They haven't really had the greatest seasons lately, but he's one of those legendary players that was actually successful at his alma mater, unlike other people.
They're undefeated. They're undefeated up to this point in the season. So
yeah,
they're undefeated coming in 2-0 to Nebraska, where they're about to start the toughest 3 games on their schedule. They got to play us, and then they go to Hawaii. They go to Hawaii, and then they come back home, and they have to play South Dakota State.
Yeah,
that's a rough sled.
That's a rough little sled.
Hawaii's the easiest of those
the
3.
Vacation in the middle,
probably
both literally and the team that they play.
Yeah, luckily they get a bye game after that, but you know, the biggest thing that
you got to play South Dakota State coming off of the trip back from Hawaii.
But you got 2 weeks. You got a bye week in there.
Oh, okay.
You got a bye week on your way back.
Rough.
So they're probably actually going to get a couple extra days out in Hawaii.
It's already rough enough to play South Dakota State, but to have to play them coming off of that trip back. But damn.
Oh, you're gonna be bruised up after that.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be bruised up after that. That's the biggest thing I'm excited about to see in this game is they are an elite rushing team, at least for their competition, and to see what we can do to slow down. They're big time. They've got 2 big bruisers back there. The one guy is 6'4", 230.
Yeah.
He reminds me, like, just looking at him quick on film, he looks like a King Henry out there.
A mini one.
Yeah.
It's really weird to say mini when you're 6'4", 230, but when you're compared to Derrick Henry.
About running backs.
But again, when you're compared to Derrick Henry, you are a mini one. I mean,
you're not going to get much of a break either. It looks like they have an or next to the guy on the second guy on their depth chart, and he's 6 foot 240.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got a couple of big dudes back there.
Yep.
They're going to be bruisers. I think we're going to see a lot more rotation on the defensive line, and it'll be interesting to see how much we lock down and use different schemes than what we've seen so far to this point, just because we know that's what they're going to do. You know that their offense, it's not going to throw the ball that much. You were mentioning they really only target 2 guys.
Basically, their tight end and one of their wide receivers. He's only thrown the ball like 20-something times on the season.
I was going to say, you would expect 10, 15 throws on
He's
the
23 of 42. He's got, like, 54%? Yeah. Yeah, he's thrown the ball as many times as Raiola completed it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're not in, they were supposed to be an air raid type team with their offensive coordinator they hired in the offseason, but he ended up quitting shortly before the season for personal reasons. So now that the new guy came in and he's looked around the room, is like, well,
I got dick to throw to.
You 2 giants over there like to run the ball? Okay, cool. I'm going to hand you the ball almost
behind
every single time.
Offensive line.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and that Ty Edwards, one of the 2 big guys, the main guy, he's averaging 10.7 yards per carry.
Holy cow.
That's kind of good.
Yeah.
I'll take a first down every time.
You're not just falling forward being tall.
No.
I don't expect that to keep up against our defense.
No.
I would hope not. If it does, then Tony White's going to be an angry elf on Tuesday next week.
Even if it's half that, he's going to be an angry elf.
Yeah. I don't expect it to be. I'll be honest with you. I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw on our defense on Saturday. What do we know about their defense?
It's kind of hard to say because
there's not a lot of info out there on them.
They played against a Valparaiso team that doesn't do scholarships. Doesn't make them terrible, but still they don't have any scholarship players, and St. Thomas isn't any good either. So it's kind of like they're only giving up 8.5 points per game.
I was going to say, they've given up the same number of points we have.
Exactly. But I mean, so we've played 2 powder puff teams. They've clearly played 2 powder puff teams. Who knows? I don't know. Well, I would say
I'm curious if they played against 2 Heisman Trophy candidates.
Well, we haven't, so. But like they haven't. Going back to the offense real quick. the one thing also with the offensive line, I know that they don't throw the ball around much, but they haven't allowed a sack yet this year.
That's awesome.
So, and they don't have any turnovers, both offense and defense. There's no turnovers yet. They don't have any interceptions. They haven't thrown one. So it's kind of like, I mean, they're playing good, but
They haven't played.
I wouldn't say that I'm really all
They haven't
that.
played big boy ball yet.
Yeah.
No.
So I think that'll be. I think this is just a great way for Nebraska to get ready for Big Ten ball.
From a height perspective, Matt, you've got their depth chart pulled up. Looking at their DBs, do we see an advantage with our 6'4" wide receivers that are going to be out there?
6'2", 6'1", a little bit. I
They've
mean,
got decent sizes. I'm hearing 6'2" and 6'1".
Yeah, I mean, they've got a safety who's 6'3". He's starting.
Damn, okay.
So not really that much of a
I
height
expected
advantage.
to hear some smaller guys on the back end for them.
Their other safety is only 5'9".
Well, that's
So-
more along the lines of what I was expecting.
They're not short. They seem like they're actually pretty well sized to be playing some bigger ball. But again, they haven't played anybody yet.
Northern Iowa is historically a good program. I mean, hell, we just had a guy graduate last year who we had to transfer, Omar Brown. He was one of our best defensive backs last year. He transferred from Northern Iowa.
I did not know that. I
Yeah.
did not know that was where he was from.
I mean, they get players there, and lately, unfortunately, they all transfer to bigger programs. But
Wasn't it?
wasn't
it 2 or 3 years ago that Northern Iowa started at Iowa, and the game was like 5-3 going into the fourth
Was
quarter?
that the one with the two safeties
Yeah.
and all that? I don't remember.
That wouldn't shock
I can
me.
look it up.
They very clearly do a good job recruiting size.
Yeah.
And if they're all transferring out to better schools, they're doing a good job coaching them up too.
That's all you want out of one of those FCS programs.
I would hope that, and I'm not saying hope, I know that Matt Rhule and his staff are not overlooking this team at all.
No. Especially after the way you played last week. Like I said, you're not going to see that letdown that you would have if we had stomped on their throats in the second half.
Yep.
Yeah.
They came in, Tony White made the comment, in his press conference, he was asked, it was something I think Sipple was kind of giving a little suck on your dong moment to him. And, you guys are a top 5, top 3 defense in a couple categories. What do you think about that? And do you think you're going to be able to keep that going? Something along those lines. And Tony White's response was, "It's Tuesday. We're the worst defense in the league."
Good.
I was like, "Whoa, what?"
Love it.
And it was intense. It wasn't like his third down conversation that he had, end of last season, anything like that. But it was very clear this is business. The vibe that I get from coaches this year after a win or a loss, we haven't seen a loss yet, thank God, but the vibe I'm getting is very different than what we got last year in press conferences after games. Last year, it was all about selling hope and we can do this and we got to keep going and
building a culture.
Keep our heads down and do this. This year, it's like, I don't give a shit who the opponent was. Our opponent is ourself. Our opponent is the execution that we and the standard that we hold ourselves to.
Yeah.
And as long as we execute to that standard, we're going to win games. And I fucking love it. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it again. I talked about that earlier today.
I expect we don't see that change until after the college football playoff is over.
Yeah. I mean,
regardless of whether or not we have any sort of shot in there, they're going to execute this whole time, at least from what I can tell.
I mean, we say it all the time. What they say, the standard is the standard.
The standard is the standard. And fix what you can fix, or fix the fixable, I guess is what
I love
Rhule's
seeing
been
them live
saying.
it.
Yeah. It's been very, very fun. I'm excited. Do we have anything else on them? Do we ever get any cool factoids or anything like that? Because
No.
I had somebody that supposedly went there.
That's why I
was on
didn't
it.
look anything up. So
Look up Brandon. I thought you went there. I was mistaken. The one I guess big thing to throw out there is apparently that was Scott Frost's first coaching job. Was out there in Northern Iowa, and Kurt Warner went there.
Those are supposed to be good facts.
It's Northern Iowa. They don't have any world record books in their library or anything like that.
I was gonna say, can we talk about the big book in UTEP?
Yeah, let's go.
Or the dead dogs at Louisiana Tech, like last year.
Jesus Christ. Hey, so if you got any crazy awesome facts, drop it in the comments.
Not if they have to do with dead dogs.
I was gonna say,
no dead dogs.
it would be a crazy fact.
Cats
I
are cool,
guarantee
though.
it would not be awesome. So whatever.
Do us a favor though, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, follow. We appreciate you guys, the subscription and the likes. They just help us do even more of these shows.
We are just shy of 1,500, so let's get over that.
Do it.
Pussies.
Jed, let's jump into the questions, man.
All right. Rushing yards by Dante Dowdell. He had 74 against Colorado. I'm basically just putting it at that 74.5. Will he get over 75?
Yes. Resounding yes. In the first half.
Okay.
Definitely not in the first half. But he does seem to be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking the over too.
Okay.
I think the only way he doesn't get there is if he fumbles it early.
Yep.
Well, I think the other way he does not get over that is if they go back to the UTEP philosophy and play all four guys.
But I don't.
So
They
it takes
said
carries away
before
from
the season started, they want a running back.
Yes, I agree with that. I'm just saying, in this type of a game, do they maybe go back to that just to get the other guys some
Do you
reps?
think
I don't know.
Do you think that's the case? Because in the Colorado game, once we got midway through the third quarter, once it was basically all right, we're not doing anything. That's when they started bringing in Emmett Johnson and Irvin again. Do you see them going that route, or do you see them really from the beginning starting that rotation right away?
Well, we're seeing this. We saw it in the first Cupcake game. We didn't see it in the second Cupcake game. But in this Cupcake game, we might see more of it. I don't know. Like, I'm just saying, just get these guys going because Rhule has said that Emmett and Gabe are going to be factors on this team.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they really want them to basically be rusty going into Big Ten play.
That's fair.
I'm just saying, I think that if he goes under the 74 or under the 75, it will be because we're playing more running backs. But I'm going to take the over.
I was going to say, you taking the over?
Yeah.
I'm going to be dead honest. I would take the over at 99.5.
I almost did that, but his high is for
I
career
get it.
74.
I
So
get
I was
it.
like, eh.
I could see him breaking 1 or 2 in this game.
And I think if I would have put it at basically 100, I probably would have taken the under because of what I said about playing more guys.
Yeah.
I would have too.
That's
I'll be
fair.
honest.
Let's stay with the running game, but let's go to Northern Iowa. Rushing yards by Ty Edwards, the big guy, 6'4", 230. This is a tough one to put a number on because
he's averaging over 150 yards a game.
Yeah, but let's be real. He's where he's playing Nebraska's rushing defense.
Are we good? Is it any
Hey,
good?
Jed, before you say your number, I'm going to take the under.
Matt's calling his shot right. Jed's put the number at 0.5 yards a carry. Let's go.
So, Dallin Hayden last week with that Cupcake team, he had 32 yards. UTEP's running back had 32 yards as far as the leading rusher. I'm putting him a little bit higher than that because of their style of offense more than anything else. 50 yards, 49.5. Still taking the under.
You got my number. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'm actually going to take the over on that.
okay.
Just a sheer game number, and I also don't know this. I have no idea how many running backs they have, but I would assume that they are only going to run the 2 guys out there, and 50 yards over the course of the whole game, I have to expect it's going to happen.
I'm also curious if we get up big, how much more are they going to... I'm not that they're going to try to sling the ball around by any means because that's not their offense, but how much really are they going to be running the ball?
Yeah.
And maybe even just sit those guys to not get injured for the rest of the season.
That's my thing.
Perhaps.
Is how much are they going to try in the second half?
Yeah.
You guys are trying to talk me into going with you. It's not going to happen.
No,
not
it's
going to
fine.
happen.
We already got your call.
I'm going
We got
over,
your
and
call.
I'll be happy when I'm wrong.
I kind of want to go over, but I'm going to go under. Question number
He just knows
3.
betting against me is a good bet.
I
You're
think
right.
I think I sold him on going all in before I picked my cards up.
There you go. Doesn't matter the number. I'm fucking under.
Passes by Nebraska of 20-plus yards. Nebraska has 2 on the season, or 4 on the season. I put that in wrong. 2 in each game, and I'm putting the number at 3.5.
20-plus yards?
20-plus yards.
Just total, not ball in the air.
Passing
counts.
plays of 20-plus yards, yes.
I'm going over.
We've only had 4 on the season.
I'm going over. I think they probably all happen in the first half. I think he's going to let the offense run at full capacity until about halfway through the second quarter. When it's 35-0, he's going to tell them to pull the dogs off.
Okay.
I'm going to take the under just because of numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about their defense. I can't imagine it's any better or any worse than the 2 defenses we've played so far. So 2 a game, and you're making me choose 4 or less. I'm going to take the under.
I'm going to take the over only because I think that the talk that Rhule had basically to say, hey, receivers, you need to step your fucking game up and play a little more physical and tougher. And I think that's going to put a bug in their ass.
This is one that I would love to be wrong
on. This one's actually a problem, definitely for Nebraska, but it's also a problem for Northern Iowa. Field goals made by both teams combined.
Ooh.
I put it at 1.5. Northern Iowa is 1-3, and Nebraska is 1-2. And Northern Iowa has missed from 31 and 28, and we've missed from 32. So it's not like they miss like super long ones. So will there be 2 or more field goals made?
Total for both teams?
Yep, combined. Yeah. See how hard this is? I know.
I'm going to be dead honest. I think we're holding them to a goose. I'm just already blowing my stuff out there. I think we're holding them to a goose egg, and I don't trust that we're going to get 2. So I'm going under.
Did you see that tweet from Dave Fight as far as our shutout games?
Have we even had one in the last
that's
few
the
years?
thing. Let's see.
Hard to think a team that hasn't made a bowl game in the last 6 years has a ton of shutouts.
We have not had we have not had a shutout since 2009.
Yeah.
In 16 games against FCS opponents since 1992, Nebraska has yet to record a shutout.
Wow.
That's a long time.
Makes me feel like your goose egg prediction is rough.
And he points out there's a lot of late touchdowns in there that, where nobody's playing and stuff like that, but still no shutout. So you're going under, you said, because you're pulling the goose egg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even with as bad as they've been, I feel like I have to take the over. There's just like one from each team. One.
Yeah.
From each team.
That's asking a lot, though.
Unfortunately, it is asking a lot.
I'm taking the over, and I don't even fucking know. I don't care. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. As long as we make ours, I don't give a shit.
This is a throw a dart at the wall, and I'm gonna take the under just as a prove it to me. Yeah. Like fuck, this is almost like the
we're going to Paris, Texas
like
right now.
This is the punt return. Prove it to me. Question 5. Number of Nebraska players with 2 or more tackles. In the UTEP game, we had 15 guys with 2 or more tackles. Against that little sister team out west, we had 12 guys with 2 or more tackles. So I'm putting the number basically in the middle of that, 13.5.
Number of guys with 2 or more, and we had how many against them?
We had 15 against UTEP and 12 against that other team.
You said you put it at 13.5? I'm going to go over. I think we actually play more players. We might touch all 120.
I was going to say, we can't play much more than what we did against UTEP.
I know, we played 103.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go over that number. I don't know if that was sorry if I busted that out as a future prop here, but I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, it's going to happen over 13.
For the exact same reason, I'm taking the over too.
Okay. I'm actually going to take the under because of the few amount of plays I think that's going to happen in this game, because I think this game's going to go very quickly.
Chad's going to take the under because we both took the over.
That might have something to do with it, but also, again, I think this game is going to be very quick.
Yeah.
You're probably
It's going to be a lot of just the clock running.
Yeah. Number of Nebraska players with a reception. Against UTEP, we had 11 guys have 1 catch or more. Against the little sister to the west, we had 7 guys with 1 reception. Do we get to double digits? 9.5.
That's anybody on the team?
Anybody,
running backs,
tight ends. If there's a throw to Dylan Raiola for some weird reason.
Over.
Just total catches?
Yeah, over.
Yes. Over.
Okay.
Taking the over on
at
that
9.5? Yes.
Yep.
I think this game is a good chance for us to explore some stuff, especially how our backs can catch the ball out of the backfield. We'll see a lot of weird swing stuff, a lot of different. They might not be good productive plays, but we'll see a lot of catches.
Okay. I'm going to go with the under because I don't know that we're going to throw the ball that much.
Think so?
I mean, we'll throw the ball a good amount, but to get to 10 people catching the ball, I don't know that we'll throw the ball that much. Last question. Turnover margin for Nebraska, plus 1.5. Nebraska has not had 3 consecutive positive turnover margin games since the Bethune-Cookman Ohio State-Illinois game in 2018. This will be our third consecutive positive turnover margin game if we get that. So UNI has not had a turnover yet this season. In Nebraska,
is it just whether or not we're going to have a positive turnover?
1.5. So if we are at point,
so you're talking
plus
2.
Yeah, 2 or more.
Yeah, we need 2. God damn, that's tough.
So if we're at positive 1, and you took the over, you lose.
I'm going to go ahead and say over because I could see a fumble in this game. I don't know if you guys noticed this in the second half. It was like John Bullock's job to be the first guy that hit somebody, but then there was always 1 or 2 other dudes that were coming along.
Just to punch the
They
ball.
were securing the tackle, and John Bullock started ripping.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were going for the turnover. They didn't care about the extra yard or 2. Super NFL level stuff. It's awesome. I fully expect we're going to be able to maybe get one of those against a little bit lesser, not much less, but a little bit lesser of an opponent. And if they're going to have to try and throw the ball at all, they're going to at least try and throw the ball some in the first quarter as they're already down 14-0 like that. It's going to happen in the first 3 minutes. And they're going to have to try and throw the ball just a little bit. I think we're going to see a guy, maybe Hartzog continues to try and play this seesaw back and forth of being the only dude who intercepts things, but also the only dude who gives up touchdowns. I'm going with 2.
So it's just we get 2?
Plus 1.5 turnover margin. Not that we get 2, because we could give up 1.
That's what I'm saying.
It's over under 2.5. Over under 1.5.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
In the under.
I am going to take the over, kind of with what you were talking about with John Bullock and the other linebackers too. You know, one thing that you did say, you said, a little bit of a lesser competition. I mean, it's a better competition than we played last week, but hey, whatever. The
offensive line definitely better.
The big thing about the linebackers specifically
they're going to have
is
5 guys out there on the field.
They're not really going to have to drop back at all the way that they have against our first 2 cupcakes that we played. It's more of a running game. Those linebackers are going to be playing more closer to the line to defend that, and then they're going to try to do the whole rip the ball out and everything else. So I'm taking the over for that reason.
You get a little more time on a big guy like Edwards, the 6'4", 230 guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happening for sure.
That's all I got.
That's all you got, man. Well, Nebraska and Northern Iowa are set to kick off at 6:30 on Big Ten Network Saturday in Lincoln. It is going to be a warm one.
Yep.
It is supposed to be in the mid to high 80s for a high that day. I think game time, they're saying it's supposed to be about 88. This has been wildly off the last 2 games, so I'm not really sure what to say. I'm guessing by the time game is actually rolling around, it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 80 degrees outside. Should be nice, though. Should be a fun night in Memorial Stadium. Should, in my opinion, it's going to be pretty relaxing. Vegas also seems to think that it's going to be pretty relaxing. The line originally opened at minus 27.5. It matched what the UTEP line was, but it is ballooned up to minus 30.5.
It's gone back down to that 27, 28.
Oh,
it did shoot
possible.
up.
That's
but
possible.
It's gone back down to the.
It's been very difficult to find that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sports books that are not taking that line.
No.
But they're also only saying 48.5 for the over/under. I'm going to go ahead and say that Nebraska covers both of those. I think Nebraska is going to probably score someplace 52 plus, and obviously that's going to cover the spread when I said they're going to throw up a goose egg.
I mean, obviously, I think I'm taking Nebraska for the win. Where's the actual line right now?
I'm saying for our show purposes, minus 30.5.
Sure.
I'm going to take you and I with the points.
You're laying the points.
I don't think we're going to
taking the points.
This is going to be one of those games where we get up and we shut it down.
Yeah.
At least I feel we should do that.
See, but I feel if we had not basically done that against the people we played last week,
the Sisters over West.
Yeah. if we hadn't just failed to stomp on the throats, I would say that. But I feel like there needs to be some throat stomping happen in this game. I don't think you're going to see it turn down, and I also think when you see our second and third stringers come in the second half,
be religious.
They're still going to be running through them.
He might be religious, but I don't see Matt Rhule as a pound of flesh kind of guy. I think he wants to get up and get out and just chalk up a win and get ready for the next week.
And I don't entirely agree with what I'm about to say, but could some of that also be because we have a short week coming into
That's
the next
also
week too?
another thing. I don't want to think that they're looking ahead, but if you get up, then you start looking ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think our second and third stringers coming in they're going to let them operate the offense.
Absolutely.
Well, they did that against UTEP. I mean, Gramstat was still throwing the ball a little bit. So, yeah they're not just going to take, again, Rhule has said it many times. We might actually see Danny Kalin in this game. They're not going to just put in their backups just to hand the ball off.
Yeah.
So
this defense is not as talented as UTEP was.
No.
I'm surprised. You didn't have a single question in there about how much we're going to see Harburg.
No. Honestly, if there was a question, I'd ask if we were going to see Kalin.
I don't know if we'll see Harburg package type like the fun stuff unless it's necessary in like the Purdue game until Ohio State. I could see them pulling out something early on in the Ohio State game.
Yeah,
if we're 7-0 rolling in there.
I don't know. Rutgers, Indiana, both. I could see us getting a little freaky with it.
I never really believed that whole Harburg will be on the field at the same time a lot. I never believed that anyway, so whatever.
Who knows? Who knows?
Obviously, Northern Iowa's going to lose. I don't know, spread, whatever. We're going to kick the shit out of these guys.
Think the game's going to go over 48.5 points?
I think that could be pretty close.
I would take the under on that one, honestly.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe.
Like, if I think we're going to turn it up and then turn it down that quickly, I don't see that many points getting scored.
No.
Maybe 35 overall.
Yep. Send it home. The Panthers are just kittens this weekend. We are rolling big, and we are headed out. Go Big Red.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.